Hey Eurovision fans, it's Tom Conti from Sharon, back for another Eurovision reaction video. Today I'm going to be giving you my pre-rehearsal predictions for who's going to qualify from the first semi-final of Eurovision 2022. I'm going to mix the stats with my personal opinions and pick 10 to go through. So let's kiki. As always, you can use the time bar if you want to skip to a particular prediction. I'm going to name them by which of the 6 categories. I'm going to put them in so that there's no spoilers, but it still means that you can skip through the video if you want to see a particular thing. As last year, I'm going to be using my same system where I put them in 6 categories. Definitely. Oh, that's meant to be definitely yes, not definitely no. Let me just change that. So definitely yes, likely borderline. So this is my yes category, getting stronger and stronger as we go up, and this is obviously my no category, getting stronger and stronger as we go down. Disclaimer on this video: if the possibility of someone living on the other side of the planet who can't even vote in the semi-finals saying that your country may not qualify really upsets you, then don't freaking watch the video and maybe just go outside and touch some grass or something. Don't get angry at me and don't post hateful stuff in the comments. Buy a puppy or something like that. Okay, let's go straight into them. Now, first of all, let's go through the objective data, and then I'm going to go through more of my opinion-based stuff. The other thing to consider as well is that obviously this is my pre-rehearsal stuff. I'm only going on the songs, what little clues I have from the performance or the staging or any interviews that they've said. But obviously this is going to massively change. There's always someone who flops in the rehearsals or really bumps up in the rehearsals. So this is not my final list by any means. I obviously will redo it, a much shorter version where I kind of update it and give my new ones after the rehearsals. Let's look at historical qualification records. Now I've done this, I'll pop this up here. I've done this in 2 ways. I've done the last 13 years. The reason I've chosen 13 years is because that's when the proper semi-finals started, when we had 2 semi-finals, which I think is a little bit better. And the reason I've drawn a line after 8 years is for 2 reasons. First of all, in 2013, that's when they started having the producer run draw order. So possibly a little bit trying to make each song shine a little bit fair, a little less up to random look out of a pot. Plus, it also just gives us more of a kind of more recent idea of how they're doing. You look at countries like Denmark, Greece, and Iceland, who have 100% record 2008 and 2013, but definitely in more recent years have been less definitely going to qualify. So you can actually see that in this scoreboard. What I think those stats show, obviously now there's a different song each year, but it shows a tendency for a delegation to be able to convert a good song into a qualification, or convert a bad song, somehow squeak it through and qualify anyway. I think that the delegation does have a huge say over how it's done. How often do we see a song that's really good and the staging is just absolutely crap and it just ruins all the chances? Like last year with Romania, that song absolutely should have qualified and the delegation just fucked it up big time. So these stats kind of give an idea of how good they are converting. Obviously, if they're given a piece of crap, there's nothing to do about it. Or if they're given an absolute piece of gold, it's pretty hard to mess that up. But it just gives us a rough clue of their staging CV and also recent trends in recent years. The other thing we'll quickly look at before we start is running order. Running order is quite big as well. Now, since 2013, where songs are put in places that make the show flow more, so we don't have songs with the same tone or color scheme back to back. It has helped a bit, but you can see there's a very obvious trend that the earlier you are, the less likely you are to qualify, and I think that's particularly because of the televote. There are just less people tuned in. Anyone tuning in late is going to miss the first 3, 4, 5 songs. How often will you see a friend who said, oh, I only tuned in at song number 6 or 7? Then if people haven't watched your song, you're relying on that lesser view count or diaspora to get you through. And we can see that from the fact that it's so rare that someone in the first 6 songs is in the top 2 or 3 of the semi. The flip side of that is you can see songs towards the end have a much better shot. Plus, it's not just about who's viewing it, it's also how fresh it is in your memory. If you've just watched song 18, it just happened compared to when you saw song 1 or 2 and you've kind of forgotten what happened already. So these are the 2 kind of objective data that I'm putting in, mixing them in with my opinions in this giant cauldron of Eurovision love, and coming up with my 10 delicious treats, snacks, potions, whatever, some analogy. Okay, let's get a couple of obvious ones out of the way. My first definite yes qualifier is Ukraine. I think it's pretty obvious Ukraine are going through. This song was third in the odds before the war started, so that's not because of the war, it's because the song is really good, it's ethnic, it's interesting, it's got rap. Ukraine have that 100% qualification record, which is the only perfect qualification record in the entire competition. That is because they consistently show amazing staging, really colorful, vibrant, interesting, just super dynamic. Their staging team is absolutely spectacular, and this is a 6th in the running order, so there's no possibility this isn't making it. It's absolutely definitely one of the contenders to win the semi-final and win the entire show, so that's obvious. Let's get another obvious one out of the way, and that is the Netherlands. Netherlands is also a definite yes. This song is so classy. Netherlands are absolutely killing it recently. This renaissance that they've had in the last 6 years is the biggest heartwarming story in how any country can turn around if they just send quality. It's a real slap in the face of political voting. Like, how can a country go from never qualifying to a complete another revamp of their system, and now they're qualifying every year? Nothing's changed in terms of Netherlands politics whatsoever. It's just the fact that they're sending quality every year. This song is really great. I think this song is really underrated. I don't know why it's still 9th in the odds. I think this should be way up. I think this could potentially win. I still think it's an outsider to win, but I think there's only 4 or 5 countries that I think realistically have an actual shot to win, and I think Netherlands is one of them. I think it's been kind of underappreciated. We saw this tone dealt with Calm After the Storm. If they can do that level of staging, that's when it's going to jump up in the odds and people will start realizing that actually this has huge potential. But yeah, the staging does need to come through. I haven't reacted to her live performance yet. I am going to start reacting to live performances later. But for me, this is a definite yes. The jury are going to absolutely love this. I think this will do well with the televote as well. It's super. I got chills with it watching the first time. I think the staging could make it really intimate and sinister and sharp. Yeah, this really, I'll be surprised if this doesn't go through. Let's go to the other side. I actually don't have any definite no's this year. Now, in regards to Bulgaria, you might be surprised because you might think that's a definite no. I'm not there yet with it being a definite no yet. I'm going to put it in the not likely section. And the reason for that is, it's reminded me a lot of that song from Armenia. I can't remember the name of it. The Dorians' Lonely Planet from 2013. I think people were the same with that. They thought this song was crap. It wasn't going to go through. It had a slightly similar vibe to Intelligent Music Project. It ended up qualifying in 7th and going through. And it was a real surprise qualifier. I remember being actually quite annoyed at the time that it went through. Yeah, look, the community doesn't like this, but really I think the community is only one portion of who's voting. Plus, I think the community was a little bit pissed off because Bulgaria has been so amazing recently with Polygenova and Equinox and just lots of really great songs with symphonics. But Borislav Milanov is taking a break. We don't know when he's coming back. This is Bulgaria without symphonics. Obviously, Victoria didn't have them last year, but she still managed to produce something pretty good. This year, I don't think the song is terrible. I think it's quite catchy. I think people are kind of over-exaggerating how bad it is. Plus, it's the only rock song in the first semi-final apart from Denmark, but it's a boy rock song. It's slightly older as well, slightly older group as well, so anyone in that demographic might connect with them. I think it has got a monopoly on what it is, so I think putting it like completely definite no is just too exaggeration. If their staging is okay as well, I might move it up to a borderline no. I really do think there is nothing in here. There's nothing in that first semi-final which I can say absolutely, literally no chance whatsoever. I can see all of them making it through. Whereas there's a couple in semi-final too, I'm like very sure they're definite no's. Let's go to another probable no, and that is Slovenia. I'm just not feeling this. I think it's too snoozy. I see it has some fans on Twitter, but I don't know if that's just like 3 or 4 people who are just quite open about how much they like it. Yeah, Slovenia's record is really bad at qualifying as well. They're, in terms of qualification records in this semi, they're 14th. I think 5th is not the worst running order, but it's not particularly great. I don't know how people are going to see this and then after another 12 songs will say, oh, that's the one I remember, that's the one I want to vote for. Yeah, I just don't feel like I said, I'm not saying it's impossible, but I would imagine their staging is going to be very similar to the national final as well. And once everyone comes out with bigger show, I think that this is really going to drop. I don't know what else they really could do with the staging, really. I think that is the most authentic to the song, but it just looks a little bit amateur high school performance. So yeah, I would be surprised if this goes through, but not impossible. Not impossible because it's kind of like the only kind of like disco rock feeling song in the whole thing. So anyone looking for disco, this is all that they've got. Let's go to another definite yes. As you know, my number 1 this year is Norway. Absolutely love it. This is going to absolutely kill the televote, even though it doesn't have Ireland and Australia and the UK, which will definitely give this 12 in the final. I still think that there's enough people who are going to absolutely love this. This song is a really great song. The humor, it's amazing. The visuals are, the whole package is just absolutely fucking amazing. And like, this is my favorite song this year. So yeah, I think it's just an absolute definite yes. And I know I'm biased towards it, but it's 8th in the odds. I think it's pretty well expected it's going to go through. It's 16th in the draw. It's right at the end. People are not going to forget it, even if it's first, but it's 16th, so they'll really remember it. I think it's going to have a viral moment. I still think this could potentially win. This is one of those 5 songs I think could win. I think it's probably the least likely of the 5, but I still think it's possible because its televote could be so large. And Norway's qualification record is amazing, and the staging for this we already know is good because it's not going to get any worse than it was in the national final, and the national final was already ready to go. Okay, next up, let's go for a little bit of one that I will say is, that I think is getting a little bit of a surprise, because I've seen that Moldova are actually, people are saying they're not going to qualify. I'm going to put this in the likely section, and I'll explain why. Because first of all, they've already shown that they can qualify twice. They've done it twice before, so they know what's happening. Like, they're an experienced group. This song is just really different. It's so folky and fun. Moldova are best when they do fun, although they kind of messed up the staging last year, but they still got through. This is them in their element. It's going to stand out. It's 9th. It's got a pretty good draw. It's going to come out to the Netherlands. So anyone who thought the Netherlands was a little bit too serious, it's going to have this really, really fun moment. Plus then after that, it's got Portugal. So it's really going to emphasize how fun it is. Moldova's actually got an above average qualification record, 8th best in this semi-final. I think that they know what to do to get themselves past the line. We saw Doritos was this upbeat thing as well, and nobody had them qualifying, and then this amazing staging and went through. Sunstroke Project were fun. Moldova just knows how to do this fun, and people want that. There are more ballads this year. This is going to super stand out. I think this is really, really likely to go through. Let's go for a slightly more controversial one now. I'm going to put someone in my borderline yes, and that's Portugal. Now you might be wondering, because people are absolutely loving on Portugal, why am I only putting this borderline? A couple of reasons. First of all, this is so similar to O Jardim, which was the 2018 song after they won. It's very similar in terms of the artist and the song and the tone and the pace and basically everything. It's a really similar song. I think Sadate, the staging looked a little bit more interesting in the national final. There are a couple of other advantages that Sadate has over O Jardim. Now keep in mind, O Jardim can last. It didn't get 0 points, it got around 40 points, but it still came last in 2018 final, which I thought was a very strong final. But I'm still like, what's the big difference between the two? They're very, very similar, so I don't see why one comes last but the other one can win. I'm not going to get that. I really like it, but I'm just saying that what has changed so much in 3 years. There's a bit of English in it, which helps. I think this staging is more interesting because she's on the stage. She's got a bit of color pop. O Jardim didn't have any color, which I thought was a big mistake. Plus, I think that with this them sitting around the stools, it's got more of a like kumbaya, coming together, girl power feeling to it. But like, other than that, the tone is very, very similar. I still think it's going to qualify, but I don't see this super strength that people are talking about yet. I like the song, don't get me wrong, but I just can't get over how people reacted to something so similar so recently, and suddenly there's going to be this massive flip. So for that reason, I'm putting it borderline yes. Let's have some more happy news. It's Albania. I'm putting them in my likely. I think opening the show is not bad. Actually, usually opening the show is a sign from the producer they think your song is good. Ronelle is massive into Eurovision. She's been working so hard on this. She went to London to do a revamp with a Dutch producer. She cares about this so much. I think there's so much passion on her. She's going to do whatever is necessary. She's going to go really, really big. I think she's going to go dramatic with a fantasy theme. I think it's going to look really amazing. The producers, she submitted her staging. The producers have looked and said, wow, this is an opener. So they've seen what her ideas are and said, this is worthy of opening the show. And that's why she got put first instead of Latvia. So it's obviously something really big. It starts off slow and then goes into a big ethnic moment, which is what people really love in Eurovision. I think this is going to go through. I'll be disappointed with it, and like really, really disappointed for Albania. And also I like the fact she's being drawn first because it means she'll get a better draw in the final as well. Okay, let's talk about another very likely, and that is Greece. And I think the song is very classy. I think it's going to do very well with juries. It's got a nice a cappella build up into a very dramatic ending. I think that lends itself to some good staging. I wouldn't associate Greece with having amazing staging, but I don't think they massively mess it up either. The music video, I really enjoyed it. It was very intense and sinister, and yeah, I really felt the drama. I just felt the song really like swelled and builds up, and I don't think this is a contention to win whatsoever, but I would also be very surprised if this didn't qualify because I think it's a very reputable and well-written song. Okay, now we're getting to the tough stuff. I've got, it's like Tyra Banks. I have 8 photos in my hand, except in photos I've got little fridge magnets. I've got 8 countries left. And I've got 3 spots, so I need to start eliminating people. Let's eliminate. Okay, this I'm gonna put in my not likely section, and that is Croatia. Sorry, but I just don't see. Croatia's qualification record is really bad. It's the third worst in the semi-final, only above Switzerland and Latvia. I think there are so many slow girl songs, sad girl songs in the second semi-final, and probably only 2 or 3 of them going through, and I think this is one of the ones that isn't going to make it. It does sound a bit derivative. I know lots of people are saying this sounds like a Taylor Swift song. I did listen to that song. I can see the similarities. I think the song is nice and pretty. Croatia song, not Taylor Swift song, but I just don't think it's enough. And the staging in the national final was horrific. Well, it wasn't horrific. That guy was horrific. I'm sure they're getting rid of him. I'm sure it will be improved. It needs to be improved a lot for me to start bumping this up. But right now, again, I'm not saying it's impossible, but I would just be surprised with the kind of other quality that's already in the semi-final, plus Croatia's pretty dismal record of qualifying. It does have a decent draw though. 12th is actually not that bad. 11th. 11th is actually not that bad. It does come after Portugal though, so it's the second slow song in a row. I think that's going to hurt her as well. So another reason why I might put that a little bit lower. Okay, let's go for one that kind of breaks my heart, and I really do hope I change this, and I might, but I'm going to give you one of my borderline no's, and that is Lithuania. And I have to say the only reason I'm doing that is because the draw is just horrific. Being drawn third is really, really, really bad. It has a very low record for qualifying. Actually, Lithuania's qualification record is not that bad at all. It's their all-time qualification record and in the last 8 years are both above average. So they do know what to do. They've got a big diaspora, although a lot of those diaspora countries aren't voting. Ireland, UK, they have got Norway, which has got a diaspora, and Latvia is obviously going to help them as well. So they got a tiny bit of help. Monica Leo's got something really quirky and unique. I think that this is going to rely heavily on the jury. So from that aspect, she doesn't need to be too late because jury do tend to take the earlier songs more into consideration. Televote wise though, I suppose her points are going to come from the diaspora. Maybe I will change this. I'm going to keep it no for now, but I feel like this is something I might bump into my borderline yes. It's literally just that third place draw. That is the thing I can't get over yet. Another country who I think have got screwed over by the draw is Latvia. I'm going to put them also my borderline no. The reason I'm not putting it in not likely is, well, first of all, the reason I'm putting them no is because they're second in the draw, which is the death spot. Since 2013, this is only 1 in 4 countries that qualify from here. We have 6 non-qualifications in a row from the second spot. That is a very grim streak that unfortunately I think will be kept alive this year by both Latvia and Israel. The song's super fun and memorable, but it's massively going to rely on the televote so much. And if there's one thing that you do not want in a televote, it's that your song is early. Also add into that, Latvia have the worst qualification record in the semis, not in the whole competition though, but in this semi they do. And in recent times, they've only qualified 1/3 of the time. So yeah, like there's just too much up against them. Also, if they can't say that first line, which is like a real fun, attention-grabbing part, they need that to go viral. And if they can't say it, I think that's against them. I am putting it at borderline though because there is the potential for virality, which some of these other songs don't have. And if it does go viral and people start talking about it quite early, then it has enough time to go a little bit viral and then people might vote for it. But they need to create that viral moment. I would love to see Latvia go through. By the way, these are not who I want to go through. This is who I think is going to go through. I can probably just point out who I want at the end. Because I want most people to go through. I actually like a lot of the songs this year. I gotta put 3 through and 2 out. Let's put another person through. I am cautiously, okay, I kind of hate that I'm doing this, but I'm gonna say that Switzerland are borderline yes. And I hope I'm wrong. I really like this song. It's my 40th song this year. But I think this is just so jury baity. It's just the baitiest of bait. It is a gigantic worm on a big hook that have they thrown into the big jury lake. It is so jurylicious. I don't like it at all. I'm not hating on him. If he does well, fair play to him. You know, he got through. It doesn't really matter how you get through. He got through. But I just don't like it. I think the jury's going to put this through. The only thing I'd say about it, it is 4th in the running order, so I think that could actually be a detriment to it. So I can definitely see this moving down, especially if the staging ends up being super snoozy. But yeah, I think him and Monica Leo being back-to-back, only one is going to come out, and I think that he's just going to wrap up that jury vote. If he doesn't go through, I think Monica Leo probably will. I think it's going to be one of the two, most likely. Okay, I've got 2 spots left and 4 countries. In case you're wondering who's left, these are the 4 countries that are left. Let's put through as a borderline yes, Austria. Now I know this song is really, really popular in the community, but every year we do see that there's a song that's really popular in the community and everyone goes absolutely foaming at the mouth about, and then it kind of flops on the Eurovision stage. We haven't really seen historically a really good conversion of EDM onto the stage. Finland hyper flopped. I think they were the only country who were below, was it D-Moll? They had someone, they were below someone awful, I remember. Yeah, they were below D-Moll, which is literally the worst thing you can possibly have on your resume. And I think that's probably the best thing that D-Moll have on their resume, is that they were above Darude by 1 place. We just haven't seen that good conversion. Cascada also didn't do very well, even though the song was really, really amazing. There were some possible issues with plagiarism. I know someone said it sounded like a song. I don't think it sounds like whatever song it was. I think people said it sounded like Euphoria. I didn't think it did at all. But yeah, we just haven't seen this conversion yet. Plus, Pia Marie is 18 and we've never seen her perform live. So everyone's like, can she? So this is going to be massively come down to the rehearsals. As soon as we see the rehearsals, I feel I'm going to know where to put this quite solidly. It's going to do well the televote. It is later. I think they're 13th. Yeah, they're 13th. So yeah, if the performance is good and she sings well, and they have that kind of like fun Renaissance, like kind of French period piece, it wasn't French, it's Austrian period piece clothing. I actually think that could be like a kind of fun moment that people get on board with. But yeah, we have to wait and see. There's just too many unknowns with this right now. So I'm putting it in, but only tentatively. Like, I need to knock a country out. Let's knock out Denmark. Now, Denmark have this amazing qualification record. I'm going to put this no. I'm not committing to not likely because it is a rock song. It's got that kind of like almost Queen-esque, a little bit like Bohemian Rhapsody, but obviously way worse than Bohemian Rhapsody. Slow into a big crescendo. Plus, it's an all-girl rock group. It's going to stand for that. The staging at the National Hall, I have actually filmed my reactions, my opinion on Denmark. I haven't published it yet. It's actually my last one I haven't published. Nobody's noticed though. I think that's a pretty showing point that no one's been like, where's your Denmark video? Because I don't think anybody cares. I thought the staging in the National Final was way too dull, like dullfest.com. They definitely need to up it. There's so many things they could do with this. They could have the other girls like doing something dramatic. I actually go through all my ideas in that video, but like have the other girls do something instead of just waiting off at the side for half the song for her to like come and then rock out. It's just too dull. But they have an amazing qualification record. I do think that if they got much, much better staging, like 10 times better staging, they could jump up. But at this point, there's too many ifs right now, and that's why I'm putting it borderline now. Okay, I have 2 countries left. The classic fight. Oops, I put the country the right way this time. I put Armenia's flag the wrong way last time, and a couple of people pointed it out. I'm going to say, I'm going to put through Armenia. And I think it's just because of where it is in the draw. I'm not a massive fan of the song. It sounds very American to me. It is written by 7 Americans and 1 Armenian. And I think that really shows in the tone of the song. But it's last. I think that is just going to make it really fresh in people's minds. It does have a unique feel, and other people are quite enjoying this. In terms of the slow sad girl songs, this does seem to be one of the more popular ones. This and Portugal. Portugal and Greece do seem to be the more popular of them. Yeah, I don't know. I really do feel like I'm putting that just because of where it's in the draw order. It's reputable enough. I think it's pretty jury baity as well. So I think it'll get like a medium jury bait score, and then it'll get a slightly elevated televote from being so late. And I think that's enough to put it through. Plus, being last is usually has a great record. Apart from Denmark last year and Trina Park, last in the semi-final pretty much always qualifies. So that means, unfortunately, poor Iceland. I'm going to put them borderline no. I do think they can go through, but their staging needs to be more interesting. They had like in the national final performance this bit, for example, where there was the 3 of them. They're mixing up the camera angles. I think more needs to happen. Get some gorgeous Iceland nature visuals. Get something happening. It's so sleepy. It's lullaby-esque, which is really pretty. But come on, like just don't make it so much work to enjoy it. So I do think they can go through. The record's actually really, really good. But at this point, I'm saying they're just... A good song's gonna go home, especially in semi-final 2. Semi-final 2, lots of good songs are going home. I think a couple of good songs are going home in this semi-final as well, unfortunately. Okay, that's how I see things at this point in time. Let me know who you think is possibly going through, and not obviously when we get the rehearsals. There's gonna be a huge change in this because we'll see how things look, how people are performing, plus we'll also see what is that like with the songs going before it and after it. So this is gonna change massively. But this is just a moment in time, and I will update it when we have that more information. But that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, 10. I got 10. Just making sure. I'm making sure I have all the right people as well. I didn't pick anyone from the second semi-final. These are, at this point in time, do not get angry at me, the 10 people who I think are going to be going through. Please let me know who you think is going through in the comment section down below. And thank you so much for watching. See you in another Eurovision reaction video very soon. Goodbye.